And we are recording. Welcome to 12-3 Marketing's weekly ACT training sessions. Today is December 8th, and we're going to talk about reports in ACT, mostly how to run them. Maybe if we get time, we'll talk about how to modify them a little bit. Not a real big fan of ACT reports. Going to do a session early next year on a new reporting system I like a lot better. But this is what comes with ACT. You all have it, so it's worth learning. Hopefully you see my second screen, which is ACT v17, and I'm using the ACT 2015 demo. Because I record these, I don't use my live production data anymore. These videos go up on our YouTube channel. People always ask me to record them because they can't make the sessions, and so we'll get you links to that channel so you can, if you missed a recording, you can get to it. But because it's recorded and it's kind of in a public spot, I use the ACT 2015 demo. And the data that ships with the 2015 demo shipped last year, so you'll see all these activity dates are from 2014. All the history dates are from 2014. And that means the reports I'm going to run are basically from 2014. Data's a little bit old. As a side topic, today is December 8th, and today officially ACT version v18 is launching. So next week's subject is what's new in V18. I hope to have my V18 keys, everything installed and running, and I can show it to you. And then, of course, we'll get a new demo database with V18 with current dates in it. But right now we're working with kind of year-old data. So let's look at the report system in ACT. It's kind of old. It's based kind of on old Access and Fox Pro technology. If you're familiar with those technologies, you might find it familiar. So we'll go to the, there's two ways to get there. There's a reports button in the left taskbar here. And there's also a reports pull down. They're a little bit different. I'll show you this one here on the taskbar first. They ultimately wind up going to the same place, but ACT has done a few things over the years. Down here is a list of all the reports in the system. There are contact reports, opportunity reports, group reports, and they're kind of listed. And then what you can do is you can check off the ones you use a lot, and those are called the favorite reports, and they show up at the top here. Generally, not everybody uses all the reports. They just run certain ones that they like to run all the time. So this is a little bit better way to organize it. If I were to go to reports at the top here, what they did, this is kind of the older way of hitting ACT. You would see some common reports at the top. And if you wanted to see other contact reports, you'd click in here, and then there'd be a list of all these reports in the report folder. But it's really all reports, opportunities and pipelines and stuff. A little bit harder to navigate your way around. So kind of prefer this button here. The first report we'll do, which is just a simple report, is a contact list. There's a contact directory. This is just going to be like a phone book report. Again, if I click on it and make it a favorite, you see it's up here in the top now, so I can just keep the ones I like to run up at the top. I'll double click on it. And the reason I'm showing you this training is this is a very common mistake. A lot of people say the reports aren't giving me everything. And it's because you have to run some filters. Now this is a simple report, so the filters are simple. But first it's asking me to where to send the report. And usually you want to preview it first to see if it's giving you what you want. Your other choices are I can send it to a printer. I can email it. I can send it to a text file. You could then bring the text file into something like Excel. You cannot directly send the report to Excel. So we'll preview it, and then it says, what do you want to see? And there's either the current contact, the current lookup, or all contacts. We'll do all contacts. This demo database has about 200 people in it. Where people get tripped up a lot is in the data managed by. This has to do with the record manager. And if I just say selected users, I'm only going to get the records managed by Chris Huffman. So if somebody else put a record in the database and they're the manager of it, you're not going to see it. So if you want to see all contact records, you would set this to all contacts, and you think you're done, but you're not. You got to make sure that you're getting the records managed by all people. Common mistake. And if I say okay, oh, drag it over here. You get, as soon as you get enough data to fill in a page, you'll see a page. Sometimes this preview window will stay gray for a while the report is thinking, looking for the data you chose. So this is a page view, and it tells me down here in the lower left the report is finished. And it tells me in the lower right that there are 68 pages. So that's why you want to preview your reports before you send them directly to the printer. There is a little magnifying glass guy here. So I'll click on that, and then it gives me my zoom tool, and I can zoom in. And I'm scrolling through the pages now with these little arrow keys. I'm seeing here contact information, mobile phone, address, and then I'm seeing home address. This is the way the report's written. We have a question. I'm going to stop for questions just so. Kate Carroll, is there a way to run a report for a user that is not the record manager? Well, then when you say for a user, they are the contact person, but not the record manager necessarily. Okay, well, that's a good question. I'll try to get to that before the end of the day. So you want to, you have a different field that says they're the sales rep, but not necessarily the record manager. So we have to add a filter on a different field. It can be done, slight modification. If I get time, we'll get to it. So the little zoom tool lets me zoom in here, but I can see I'm wasting a lot of space on this home address. We're going to come back to this and clean this report up. Maybe we don't care about home addresses. So I'm going to close the preview window, and I'm going to run a different report now. The contact directory is really like a phone book directory. A common report that people run, not so much anymore, is called notes histories. They want to know like who did what for a certain time period. In fact, I'm going to make that a favorite, and now it's up here. And I'll double click on notes histories. Now this is a more complicated report. First off, it wants to know like, well, for what contacts? So I want to run for all contacts, and again, managed by all users. Then I want to go to the notes, and I can pick whether or not to include notes. Now, we normally tell you not to use notes that much. You should be putting all your activities in history, but notes are kind of little text areas to put notes in, and you can include those. You can also pick a date range. You may not want to include notes from 5 years ago. You may only want to include notes that came in this month. I can change that date range, and I can also put in a custom date range. And again, if I want to see a note put in by other users, I have to make sure that the note was managed by every note and every history also has a record manager. And therefore, I got to make sure I include those. And then we go to history, and the history is a little rough. I can't like filter out phone calls. I can filter out emails and attachments. But I'm saying include history, email, attachments, but just for the current month. And again, by all users. So we'll run this. It's for all contacts, all notes, but the notes are only the notes that went in this month and only the histories that went in this month. Now, this month is December. Today's the 8th, so we've only had about 5 business days of work, but we'll run this report. Keeps popping up on my other screen. Well, isn't that weird? The report is finished. It gave me nothing, so I got to figure this out now. Oh, current lookup. Well, I don't know what my current lookup is. Let me go to all contacts. That was my mistake. Anyway, this little filter conditions, which are your report parameters, it still did it. What's going on here? All contacts, all users, all users. Oh, sorry. This is demo data from a year ago. There's nothing happened this month because we're in the demo database. I was confused. I thought I was in my database. I was about to yell at some people. Let's we have to change this to a much wider range of dates. So let me go back to like 2013. I warned everybody about this and I didn't even pay attention to myself. So, okay, now we've got 2 years of dates in here. This ought to produce something. And we'll use the magnifying tool again. So there's a contact here, George Agan, with 1 history. I believe this breaks on every page. Boy, that's awful if it does. You can see down here it says page 684. Because I put 2 years worth of data in here, this is a very large report. And let me just scroll through a few pages. No idea why I'm getting a page break on every one. We'll have to fix that one. This one must have been broken in a previous class. All right, bad example, but this one gets used a lot. However, the history list that came out in v16 kind of removed the need to run this report. But normally what I would do, I'll just run these parameters again, is if I wanted to see what Chris Huffman did for this period, I would do it based on all contacts because I don't care who the record manager is. He might have talked to a contact who was managed by somebody else, but in the notes, I only want to see the notes he put in. And in the history, I only want to see the history he put in. And this becomes a Chris Huffman activity report. I got to change these dates again. And a lot of people have asked us for that kind of report. So there are about 40 reports that come with ACT. And if you want to know what they do, you just got to kind of look at them. A lot of them are kind of obvious by their name. There's opportunities by record manager. This is kind of a sales report. Again, I don't use this report as much because in the opportunity manager, we did a session on that a few weeks ago. You can just dump everything to Excel and you can do pivot tables and charts. So this isn't the only reporting option in ACT. You can dump data to Excel. There's other reporting methods out there. So what I want to go to next is how to modify a report, which is a lot of work, and the only way to get good at it is to practice and break things. If I take this contact directory, I'm going to edit the report, and the report designer comes up, and it's kind of scary looking. It's got all these fields and stuff on it. And the first thing I'm going to do is save it as something else. I'm going to make a copy. So I'll save it as December 8 class contact report. And one of the things I want to do, pretty simple, is I want to get all this home address stuff out of there. It's wasting paper. And so taking stuff out is always easier. I'm just kind of grabbing all these fields by dragging around it. I selected all that stuff. I hit the delete key. I'm even going to get rid of this line here. And then I'm going to move this section up. And so I have just this data. And, you know, we don't have a field on here. I'm trying to answer Katie's question. I'm going to add a field down here. So I come over here to the fields and I'm going to drag a field down. Click on this. I will put a field right here. I'm not going to worry about font and size and alignment. Here's all my fields in ACT. And I don't think I have one called sales rep. Maybe, oh, we do, sales rep. So I'm going to add that field right here. And I can even, over here in the designer, I can make it red or something. So you can, you know, you can set colors and do everything you want. And so we'll save this. And actually, you don't have to quit this and run it. You can actually go in the designer here and say print preview. And you can run the report right from here while you're designing it. Because generally, you're going to need to interact with it. You're going to need to make a few changes. So let me maximize this, and you'll see sales rep's pretty blank. However, we got the home stuff out, and now I'm getting 5 contacts per page instead of 2. But it also looks like the sales rep field is blank on every one of these records. We put a field in there that's not populated. So this is how you modify a report. You go to edit the report. It brings up the report designer. Make a copy in case you make a mess of things, and then work on your report. And this is what you work on. There's things called sub-reports. You can insert pictures like this little picture. There's a lot to this, and I can't teach all this in a half hour. If you want a report written, we can do it for you, but there's a lot to this. So I'm going to exit the report designer, save my changes, and so now I have looks like I got to leave this list and come back to it just to refresh it, because it should be in my list of reports. I don't see it. I bet you I got to close act and restart it. What a pain that is. List of reports is not refreshing. Let's go here. Other contact reports. December 8th class. There it is. So I can run it. There it is. Interesting, it didn't show up in this list. I bet you this list gets loaded when you load act, so we have to close out and get back in. How silly is that? Okay, so then I'm going to answer Katie's question, how do I filter on a different field? That is back in the report editor, which I can't get to from here, but I can get up here under edit. Under reports, I can edit a report down here. It's called edit template. There's a list of all the reports. I'll edit this one. And what she's asking, because she wants to run it on a different field, is called a filter. And so under edit, there's a thing called define filters. This is how you filter your report. This is just, excuse me, this is just the default sections here. I actually have to do this in a weirder way. We got to do it in the section. Before and after. All right, never mind. I have to write a line of code. I don't want to do it. It takes too long. Been a long time since I did this. We have another question from Karen. Hi, Karen. If the desired field doesn't come up when I edit a report, is there a way to add it? For example, I'd like to put the contact phone number on opportunity reports. Now, the reason you can't do that, that's a great question, and I'll show you why. I got to talk about kind of the data structure. ACT's trying to make this as easy as possible. So we have an opportunity report here, opportunities by record manager. I will edit this report. This is the opportunities by record manager, and it's got the status of the opportunity, the contact name. And she wants to add a field in here called phone number. I'll just drag it right here. So you go in here, and it's a list of all the opportunity fields, but a phone number belongs to a contact. I don't have contact here. This is an opportunity report, and they only kind of give you what they think you should have. It makes it much simpler. The thing about a phone number is that if I go back to ACT opportunities, you remember that if I go to an opportunity can have multiple contacts in it. So this is an opportunity here. This they probably don't, but if I go to the contacts tab, see if I have one. I can have 15 people on this report, on this opportunity. I can just keep adding people. In fact, I'll put 15 people on it. So all these people are on this opportunity. And then which phone number do I put in there? I know you say you just want to do the one that's on there, the first one. But it's because there's these one-to-many relationships in there. Also, a person can have many, many phone numbers. They can have a phone, a home, a mobile, a fax, an alternate, and a pager. So if you look at the table structure of ACT, it'd be very hard to do that. It can be done, but not with this report designer. This report designer, they don't want to confuse you, and they don't want to make available every field in ACT, because there's probably 1,000 fields of all kinds of things in the background. So I can get that for you, but I'd probably do it in Excel, which can be done. Okay, a couple more things about reports. Let me go back to this one that does work, the contact directory. Run it for all contacts. That's a simple one. When a report has run, under save, you can save it as a PDF file, as a text file, or rich text, which will go into Word. So you can save it as a text file, and if you do, then you can bring it into Excel. A lot of people want to be able to send a report to Excel. But if you really want data in Excel, a contact report, what I would do is just go to contacts here. Here's my list of contacts, and there's an Excel button right here. So you can always send it right, you just do this and it'll send it right to Excel. This is also true. So here's my Excel report. If you want to export histories, like that notes history list, again, last 7 days we don't have anything, so let me do all dates. Here I can pick users if I just want to see what Chris did only. Now I'm only seeing the stuff Chris did, and under the types, if I don't want to see all the goofy stuff, maybe I just want to see calls and meetings. There they are. And then again, I've got an Excel button here. I can just send this right to Excel. And finally, under opportunities, I have a list of opportunities, and there's an Excel button here. So the one reason I kind of downplay the reports is, as Carol said, or Karen said, I want to be able to add a field. You can't. It's because of the way they set it up. Okay. I'm going to leave it here as far as running this, but I'll certainly take questions. So like I said, use the reports button here. You can edit these reports. I guess I'll show you one more report that this time of year gets used a lot. Say you want to send out Christmas cards and you want to print labels. If I go to reports, I see like other reports. I don't see any envelope reports in here. These are page reports, and this is a little, so there's a REP file as an ACT report, but if I change my type here, there's envelopes and labels here, LBL. So let's change this to LBLs, and we've got all these different Avery labels here. So I don't know what kind of labels you're on, but if you're on Avery 5160s, we'll look at those. I'm about to run it. What I really want to do is edit the report. So we'll go reports, edit, close that, change this to labels. We'll pick 5160s, and there's our report. Well, that's not very Christmassy. So what I would do is I would save this as Christmas labels. And now up at the top here, it says I'm working on the Christmas label report. And what I can do is grab, I don't know, I'll grab this custom field here. This is a formula field where I combine first name and last name and the salutation and stuff. But maybe I want to make it red and I want to change it to a curvy Christmassy font or something. And so you can do all that here. And so now I have that, and I'll save it. Actually, I'll preview it. And now I've got these labels here. So you can print off some pretty looking labels if you want. Festive labels, we'll call it that. I wanted to talk about that. All the different reports in ACT are in the report writer. You don't always see them if you look at the default type of REP. You got to change it to label. Same with like the day planner reports and so forth. Okay, so next week our session is going to be on what's new in version 18. Like I said, version 18 dropped today, so we're going to be a little bit busy, and we're going to get it installed on our own systems and show you what it looks like. So I hope to see you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.